detective thrill me.
Thanks for joining us. I think we've hit the sludge of 2025, Jared, because once again we've dawdled back into another new movie when we said, "Oh yeah, let's do something fucking, let's do an 80s slasher or something." We've stumbled into Popeye's Revenge, which is also from this year. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, Jared, we were this close to going for the more sensibly titled Popeye the Slayer Man, but that fell through.
The superior film, I'm led to believe.
From what I've been told, yes. Not hard, I would have thought, after sitting through this cinematic diarrhea.
Okay.
But before we get to picking through that, what have you been watching?
Couple of little bits and pieces. I watched City of the Dead, bit of Joe Bob Briggs' work.
Is that like a European zombie film or something like that?
I think it was an Amicus, or one of the first Amicus films, like kind of black and white witch.
Oh, okay.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Very, very moody, atmospheric. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I was watching a little more of the Godzilla. I've moved into the Millennium era one, so I watched Godzilla versus Megaguirus, which was okay. It's more of the same sort of thing, but it's I actually think some of the effects are worse because they start to squeeze some early sort of computer effects in there whilst occasionally using some of the techniques that they'd previously used as well, like the miniatures, and it was okay. It was okay. Not one of my favourites that I've watched recently, but did the job. I watched Predators, again dipping back in because my son was sort of interested in once we watched Killer of Killers and started talking about Badlands and sort of bringing up that it might have been like, similar sort of themes and ideas to this one. He couldn't really recall a lot of it, so he requested that we watch it again.
What was the take on it on return?
Yeah, I still like that one. I still like it. The spin is a decent idea. When you watch it again, you see a couple of the warts. Like, obviously, we've mentioned previously, and going into a little bit of spoilers, but Topher Grace's sort of role just sticks out from the get-go.
Yeah.
And but there's stuff that I really like about it. I think that the concept is a good one, but I also love Nolan. I don't know why, like, Lawrence Fishburne is just good value, but I love how he's fucking...
Even though he's sort of almost from another movie.
Yeah, but he's sort of talking to someone that's not there, and then kind of... I love the idea that, hey, this guy's survived by being as fucking ruthless as the Predators are, and as dangerous as they are, really. So, and I'm a fan of the sort of collection of Predators, how they went to sort of go with this group of Predators and differentiated them by their skill sets and what they were doing, and... Yeah, I'm a fan of that one.
Yeah, so am I.
I can sort of understand reasons why people don't necessarily like it, but I dig it. And the last one was I saw The Ballerina.
Oh.
John Wick. From the world of John Wick.
I've heard middling.
Yeah, it's about right. There's a couple of quite spectacular sort of sequences, which you sort of come to expect, but then there's other ones where you watch it and you're like, yeah, they're just trying to top what they do, and it's not really doing that. Story-wise, this one's got an expansion to the sort of John Wick lore that I sort of liked, but the story of the character is sort of just... It's not all that interesting. Like, it's a pretty standard sort of revenge aspect to it, but it doesn't really carry it all the way. But yeah, plenty of shots to the cods and things like that.
Wow.
One poor fella cops a rubber bullet square in the plums.
You're definitely losing a testicle.
Exactly.
Like, definitely. That may not be an actual bullet, but fuck, it's taken your nut.
And it went completely over my head. But all the while this sack trauma was happening through the film, that the ballerina's music that was playing, Maddie reminded me on the way out that it was a Nutcracker. That fits perfectly.
Hell. Now, from what I've read, that it was pretty heavily
reshot.
Yeah. After the initial screening was considered unwatchable.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, because the stuff that I heard was reshot was to add John Wick,
Yeah,
and it's not a lot of John Wick.
isn't it?
So, yeah, it doesn't. He doesn't even really need to be in there a lot, but you could say it's a worthwhile ad. Any John Wick's
Yeah, that's
good,
fair.
I guess. But look, out of the 4 John Wick movies, and then this, I think this is probably at the lowest end.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It was still a decent screening, and if you like that action cinema and appreciate what John Wick's doing, well, then you'll have a level of enjoyment out of it that's probably worthwhile watching. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough. All right, mine was pretty slim. I watched the second episode of Fred and Rose West. It hasn't got any better. And I think if there was ever a case for hanging some fucking prick up by his balls, it would be here. He's impregnating women left and right, and I'm just thinking, who the fuck would even go near this fucking little turd, you know? But it was more about control. That was the whole issue. Plus, you know, his wife was into the control portion of it too. So but it just was very fucking untidy. I also watched a new documentary about the OceanGate submersible disaster, Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of those classic cases of like, I cannot admit that this is not, something's going to go wrong here. Like the CEO just couldn't do it. And anybody who questioned the issues was fired. Basically.
Wasn't he running the ship with a bloody gaming controller at one point?
Yeah. But the worst part was they had all these, because they were using carbon fibre, right? And so carbon fibre is obviously almost like, you know, it looks like a fucking blanket kind of thing. It's made of those fibrous bands. So they had these sound things inside the submersible, and all you could hear as it got lower was like the carbon fibre fucking threads breaking. And this was in the earlier tests before it all the shit went to, you know, and people were saying, this is fucking not work, this is not good. And old mate just wouldn't have it. It was just one of those really, it's kind of sad, but it's also like, it's just a classic case of like, I refuse to fucking listen to people. I refuse because this works. You know those people who say, you're telling me it can't be done and it can. Yeah, what, at the cost of your life? Is that and 4 others?
Yep.
Just fucking, it was just sad. I watched The Replacements. Keanu Reeves, Gene Hackman.
Yep.
Sports comedy. It was all right. I hadn't seen it for a while. It popped up on Max. And I thought, all right, I'll give this a run.
And we got to squeeze our value out of Max while it's there.
And it was okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got good actors in there, and you know, it works in a little bit in a sense of that. And I love the idea of like the replacement players, because that was actually legit. You know, the whole thing that happened in like '86. Yeah, they ended up winning the Super Bowl. Remember, wouldn't give them fucking Super Bowl rings, even though they won 3 out of 4 games that they played, which got them into the playoffs. So that was, you know, that was an interesting, connection. And then for some reason, I watched something called Psycho Cop, which.
Oh, I have seen the poster for it.
I heard this on a podcast of mine. I thought, oh, if it's on Tubi, I'll check it out. Happened to be on Tubi.
Yep.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty bad. Yeah, our Psycho Cop keeps punching out like police puns and then fucking strangling people. Nothing
you're saying there sounds bad.
Look, I'd probably say to you, Jared, have a look.
Yeah, of course.
Because you got time. You can give it a run.
That sounds like top-notch entertainment
it's
to me.
It's sort of like cut-rate Maniac Cop. It's kind of slasher movie Maniac Cop.
That's exactly what I thought when I looked at the poster.
And I don't know how many times people were that they had to use such this most artificial of reasons for why they were being separated from the group. Like one woman just starts randomly wandering off going, "Where's my hairbrush?" What?
You're selling it.
Forget about the fucking hairbrush. Who cares?
I don't know, when you're tense and you're anxious, a little brush of the hair seems to fix things up.
But that was it for me. All right, let's take a break. And here's the trailer for 2025's Popeye's Revenge.
It all started with a scream.
You know, he's coming when the fog rolls in. It was 15 years ago the little boy they called Popeye drowned. Let's see if Popeye's ghost wants to play with May.
I think I just saw someone.
What are you doing driving down here? There's nothing down here apart from an abandoned old house.
Yeah, Popeye's house, sir. My parents own the place.
Now that is an eyesore.
It's coming to get you.
What are you?
It's Popeye. He's back.
Popeye's Revenge from 2025, directed by William Steed, who directed Children of the Night. It's produced by Renee August, who produced Mouseboat Massacre, which I believe is related to...
Mickey Mouse. Or Steamboat Willie, another IP-driven effort from these people.
It's written by Harry Boxley, who wrote Piglet, and obviously based on the comic strip by E.C. Seeger. It stars Emily Moliner as Tara, Connor Powles as Dylan, Danielle Ronald as Donna, and Bruno Cyan as Nick. I could not find any budget information. I believe it was directly released to streaming services. And this film was shot in 9 days across Scotland and England. And you wouldn't even know it, would you?
No.
You would not. You
Didn't need another 9 or, 90.
Maybe another, couple of weeks in post-production, possibly.
Couple of weeks of pre as well.
Yeah, couple of weeks of rehearsals.
Take your time, people.
Yeah. Guys,
Take your time.
Rehearsal time costs you nothing. Come on. All right, Jared. How did you go with this?
Not well. Not well.
No.
Look, Adam,
Not
it's fair
well
to
at
say
all.
I was filthy when we were watching it because I get suckered in. You hit me with the IP. I see Popeye and Slasher and I think this is a must watch. But I'm just dirty that why bother with an IP if you've got your public domain Slasher there. Half the story should be written for you.
Well, it's already written.
It's already there for you. You still can't even bother with it. Like, there's nothing Popeye related in this movie. It's essentially like a rip-off Friday the 13th. And it's so cheap and so quickly made. The writing is it's so bare bones. None of the characters were remotely it couldn't hold my interest for 40 minutes. Like, it was halfway through when I was already starting to just kind of drift. Well, I'd probably lost interest before that, but my focus began to wander very heavily after 40 minutes. We'll put it that way. So yeah, I can't understand why you go. Well, I can. I understand you are doing it for a cheap marketing campaign because people will get a hold of it and have a go at this, and it just gets eyes on it, and you get idiots like me to fucking press play on it. But it just pisses me off that you've got half a story written and you just think, nah, we won't even bother with that. All you got to do is take all the elements that are there in the public domain and find a way to wrap a slasher around it. But you go the other direction by thinking, how can I take one of the most boring slashers that I can think of and just squeeze Popeye into it without actually using any of the Popeye stuff?
Spinach, olive oil, Wimpy, Bluto.
Yeah.
Fucking gigantic forearms.
Yeah.
Like
the name Popeye.
Yeah, Popeye, the sailor man. Like he is
It's
a
ridiculous.
sailor. Like
Yeah. So
these are simple fucking things,
They
aren't
are.
they?
So I ended up at half a star for that reason.
Half a star. I also went for half a star. I'm the same. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You could have made this anything. This was so generic slasher wise. You didn't need Popeye.
No.
You could have called it fucking anything at all.
Yep.
And then basically said, with the exact same backstory they gave him.
Well, essentially, you set a trap for me.
You did.
I took the bait.
You did. You fucking laid down a bear trap and I stepped in it.
Yeah. Ooh, Popeye, bang. Oh, shit.
You screwed me, I can tell you now, because this movie sucks. Like, fuck me. I mean, it has nothing going for it.
No.
I mean, it's
nothing.
shot in 9 days. It looks like it was shot in like 3 days.
Yeah.
It's so poorly pulled together. It's so badly kind of acted, directed, fucking everything.
Yeah.
Everything about it is just shit.
You're getting heated over
I'm
there.
getting fucking heated, all right. What? Half a star. That's it.
Half a star.
Half a star.
Fair.
Okay,
fair.
so is there anything? Did you have anything?
I had nothing.
You had-
I had no likes. I did not like anything about it. I don't know where my half came from.
Zero likes.
0.
Okay, the fog adds a bit of atmosphere and covers up some of the cheapness in certain sequences.
You're reaching, but
I am reaching, but like when someone gets killed, it's usually in a fucking shroud of fog.
Yeah.
So it hid some of the problem areas and the cheap areas. The other one is they actually do get a couple of good location shots using a drone of the mountains and stuff of where they are, which was England and Scotland.
Countryside.
But how that links up to fucking Popeye, I have no idea.
Yeah, where I'm led to believe Popeye originated.
Yeah, Popeye the Sailor Man came from a mountainous fucking country town in Scotland.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yep.
But you got a couple of nice shots.
Yeah.
One in particular
I'll
where
give you
it's
that.
sort of they're driving up to wherever, and then they have like a panning shot from a drone, and it looks good.
Yep.
Does look good. That was it.
Fair.
Okay, straight out of the gate, super cheap.
Super.
Like the budget must have been very low.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they don't get anything out of the budget. Whatever they use their money for, I'm going to assume it's probably for prosthetics and a bit of gore, maybe.
A little bit.
The prosthetic arms.
Look at you.
Me.
You're laughing when you talk about it. Are you telling me that's where the cost was?
Well, I'm going to
Yeah,
assume
stuffing's not cheap.
that's where the money was at, because that's the only thing I can think of. Well, you didn't. I mean, your actors weren't exactly fucking setting the place on fire, were they?
No, I don't think their agents are pushing for like big dollar.
You know what? I would rather admit to being in pornography than being in this.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
I think so.
like,
yeah.
fuck, this was so bad.
Yeah.
And speaking of the actors, I mean, there are several performers who the line delivery has it's come off a card.
Yeah, it's pretty
Like
bad.
you guaranteed they're reading from the script. It's just shocking, and especially the girl at the start, one of the influencers or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
She's doing her like 2-camera spiel about Popeye's origin story, and she delivers it with such wood.
It's pretty stiff.
It's pretty fucking wooden. And she is then matched by another girl later on whose delivery is just,
Yeah.
it's right.
Delivery of lines like, what is this place? Oh, fuck. Can we go again?
You need to run them together.
Yeah. If you can't take another take,
Yeah.
it's
You
pretty
can't
cheap.
go, what is this place? That's not, there's no full stop in between each word. Okay?
Yeah.
I need you to fucking run it together. But, you know, when you're whipping it out in 9 days, Jared.
Yeah, you don't have time for a second take.
No, well, no, you don't. And I would suggest, look, again, what I would say this, you normally say this in this type of circumstance, Jared. I would say, well, you know, you're not worried about performance because it's a slasher movie.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, but what were you worried about?
Yeah. It's a lower ceiling,
Yeah.
but there's still a floor. And you need to say, all right, we've got to go again because we've got to get to the floor at least.
Yeah. Any director worth their salt says, fuck, just do that one more time.
Quick, the camera's still running, just say it again.
Just say
Bang.
it again and say
Great.
it like fucking quicker
Say
than
it
that.
like a normal person would say it.
You know, loosen up and say it like you would if the camera wasn't on.
Look at you, selling yourself for Popeye's Revenge too.
Well, Jared, I can go like this too. You know, put my fucking hands up and, you know, oh, look at that. That would look great through the viewfinder.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, when you're doing that, though, you can't take your eyes off the mountains and the
Yeah. Let's get
fog.
let's get 3 days of pickup shots on the mountains.
Just this one. This one looks great. Let's just stick here for 3 days.
Now, this is where the movie sort of. This is its biggest flaw for me. That you have this backstory that's seemed like something like Madman.
It's fucking bizarre. Yeah.
Like Popeye was bullied when he was born. He had giant forearms.
Yeah.
He was then bullied at
Busted
school.
his dad's finger fresh out of the womb.
Yeah, he's only just fucking days old. Broke dad's fingers. He then dressed as a sailor and wondered why he was getting bullied at school.
Well, he goes to school and we're led to believe he's getting bullied at school, but then me and you were sitting there going, is it because he's wearing a sailor outfit? There doesn't seem to be any connection to him being a sailor.
At minimum, if he turned up at school via boat, I will take that.
Exactly.
That's Sailor Man.
Yeah. He could be a fucking rowboat. I don't care.
In fact, that's what his nickname should have been.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So he gets bullied. He's dressing in a sailor costume for fucking no reason whatsoever.
Because his name's Johnny.
Then they say he then becomes Popeye or something, known as Popeye.
Yeah.
I'm like, but why?
Because he squeezed the kid's head until his eyes popped, didn't he?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know, like, but that's not good enough for me.
No, it's not good enough at all. I mean, it's a fucking laugh riot. And the funny thing is you're saying this is where the movie goes off the rails. That was fucking a minute into the movie, Adam. Because we get the cheap animation that's like, as I said, sort of happened in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the first one. They used an animation to introduce the story.
Yeah.
It was pretty effective. This, not so much.
Is it?
Like, it was a fucking laugh riot. Like, me and you were immediately saying, why is he going to school in a sailor suit if we've already been told he's not a sailor and his name's Johnny? And he's, I mean, there's zero connection to anything Popeye.
Except for
He's a unusually strong mutant kind of child.
did he Fucking did actual Popeye, was that actually his real name?
Johnny.
No. Not Johnny. I mean Popeye. Was that his real fucking name in the comic book?
I'm pretty sure his name was Popeye.
So was it because he popped someone's fucking eyes
Do you
out?
want me to Google what's Popeye's name?
Google it, because that, like, you still, once again, why didn't we just go like this, Jared? And I said this whilst we were watching this fucking and getting further and further upset. Why didn't we just go with him being a boat captain or something? You know, that a group of teens, a party got out of hand, he got burned, he fell overboard, he drowned.
Well, I mean,
Years later,
anything related to, like you said, a houseboat, and fucking here comes Popeye, and he's pissed off. Or, you know, like
Popeye
set it in a small fucking fishing town or something. Like, I just don't understand. Well, again, I do understand.
I do. It's
because
about
you
money.
don't give a shit about what you're putting out there. You're just quickly trying to get some eyeballs on it. And I should have learned my lesson. It's my fault. I should have learned.
Well, not fully. It's not fully your fault.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
Jared, why not just connect him to the sea? Why not just connect him to the sailboat?
I've been asking myself that for 80 minutes, Adam.
Because that's the easy bit.
Exactly.
Connect him to the fucking boat.
Well, connect him to something related to the character that you're fucking taking. That you are lifting because you're now legally allowed to do that.
You're getting it for free.
Exactly.
Like, fucking don't do it. Like,
Watch
you don't
a
need to-
Popeye cartoon for 5 minutes, except for the one that we turned on that seems to be coded in racism.
yeah. Best leave that one alone. I think.
Animation in the 1930s. Christ. It's a minefield, isn't it?
Yeah. They had bigger problems than blackface back then, I
Oh, my
think.
God.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
But take this stuff, tie it back to the water.
Yeah.
That he was fucking, again, he was injured and fell overboard and drowned or something, and now 20 years later his boat reappears, and then he gets on a houseboat or something, or a pleasure cruise, like just like Friday the 13th Part 8 that's sailing out of Crystal Lake
Exactly.
into the giant ocean.
Exactly. Just take that. Just lift it. There you go.
And then just cut him loose.
Yeah.
On the. I also think that he should have been able to talk.
Yeah. Instead of fucking growling like
I am's what I am's, or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah. Absolutely, he should have, because this is what, and he should have done something like boxed somebody's fucking head off like he did in the cartoons. Like, you get a bit of a laugh out of that stuff. It's cheap comedy. It's cheap heat, Adam.
Cheap heat?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
If he's chopping on his pipe and going, okay, while he's boxing someone's head off, I'm right there. I'm loving it.
Also, quick note to the filmmakers. Yes, I understand your guy was fucking carrying a pipe around, but it wasn't a fucking corncob pipe. You bum cakes. You got him carrying around a fucking Sherlock Holmes pipe.
You're upset about that, aren't
fucking
you?
idiots. Like, well, it just comes back to the sheer fucking ineptitude of this.
Yeah.
Like,
You saying the likes of Harry Boxley should have been run out of town like Popeye was? Sorry, like Johnny was?
Yeah. I don't know if Foxy has mutant forearms, but he should definitely have been run out of fucking town.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, we were laughing through the animation, but then in the next 5 minutes, we've got people making viral videos or influencers or whatever they are and dropping things like, this is a bad idea before they go and do it. And it's like, fuck.
Well, so what was
are
that guy
we doing?
doing when he was having sex?
I don't know. He was
He's
rolling
kinda-
the shoulders over.
Yeah.
Looked like he was rowing a boat while he was...
I don't know about you, but I know I like to limber up. Jury.
Beforehand?
This guy was jury. There's no need
Yeah, I don't
for
know
that.
what was happening. There was definitely shoulder rolling going on.
But also, when, like, I understand inept filmmaking, but when you basically take a product from somewhere else and then you don't even bother to do any of the stuff that you've got, which you can get for free, mind you, Jared. You're not paying for any of it. Why you wouldn't somehow try to work it all in is beyond me.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
To do it like this. And what were they rushing for? It's all public domain.
Well, you got to be the first one out there. When Slayer Man's hot on your hammer.
You know what? I don't know if I can watch that now that I've seen this.
I have to. As I said to you, I've heard that there was something on the lines of like a contaminated batch of spinach in that one.
Jesus Christ. But at least the spinach is there.
At least you used the spinach.
This didn't even have Popeye's fucking spinach.
Well, they threw it in once and it was...
It was an empty can
barely
of
related to him. It was just an
right?
empty can. It was just, not happy with it. Not happy at all.
Man, all right. What else have we got?
Just a question. Like, again, me and you were kind of laughing at this and we probably could come up with an explanation, but where do you get his giant adult-sized sailor suit from? If he pissed off when he was a small child.
He was drowned. He drowned when he was a child, and yet when he's an older man, he's got a full-size fucking suit on.
Full-size sailor suit. It looks pretty fresh at the start.
It does. So what happened? He slipped down to fucking,
I suggested he might have got a copy of the Jay Voorhees Survivalist Handbook, and there might have been a few tips on stitching and sewing in there.
You can put together your own clothing.
Here's how you make a bag for your head. If you just cut a few holes in that bag, it can easily become a cheap sailor shirt if you like.
Yeah. You get out your sewing machine and you fucking stitch yourself this stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what must have happened.
Now, we both could not stop laughing at a jump scare at the start.
Oh,
there's a girl kind of crouched down near the lake and she's looking pensively, and then we cut back to the camera looking directly at her. There's nothing else around. There's no trees, there's no stumps,
we're in like
there's
a
no
fucking
rocks.
swamp.
There's no rocks, there's nothing. And then suddenly out from behind her comes her mate and goes, boo! I was just like, so you've been crouched down behind her that whole time?
Yeah. So I hoping she'd kind of just look over her shoulder and go, what the fuck are you doing there?
Yeah. Why are you here?
It was so stupid. Very funny.
Yeah,
very funny.
Very funny. All right. Now, why does he growl all the time?
I don't know.
It was fucking distracting, Jared. Like, he kept, every time we saw him, he was like, and grunting and shit. Like, it was like every time he killed somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why can't he talk?
I don't know.
Did they?
Well, he didn't finish his schooling, we've been told. He got ran out of the place and drowned.
I don't know about you, Jared, but when I got to kindergarten, I wasn't told how to talk. I was just fucking...
You're already starting.
I was already talking by then.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I even mentioned he breaks out of the room, and maybe I wasn't listening because I was fucking rendered comatose. This was a minute into the movie. They say that he busted out of the room and started yelling for his mum and dad.
Yeah, true. So, I've got no idea. I can't explain that one to you.
Were his larynx
Look, his
burned?
social skills are just a little bit off at the moment.
Maybe.
He hasn't had human contact for 20 years or 15 years or whatever it's supposed to be.
It didn't help.
Although that's, further down the track, we get told that that's not the case. But anyway.
Yeah. But the whole grunting thing just makes him so fucking... there's no menace, there's nothing. Like
No.
It just adds nothing to the... It has no flavour.
Nope.
I mean, the fucking character's not menacing at all. He just kind of wanders in and out of shots and just grabs people.
Yeah.
They don't even bother to kind of do your classic kind of jump scare moments. Unless you consider crouching down behind your mate and leaping up as a fucking jump scare.
It counts.
Well played jump scare.
It counts.
There's a dude who turns up, he's a fisherman. He's kind of Crazy Ralph. You pegged him as Crazy Ralph.
Well, he was kind of sane, Ralph. He seemed quite normal.
He comes up and he goes, stay out of the fog. It's lethal. And then we cut back to him 10 minutes later, and here he is sitting up fucking like Boss Cocky, fishing in the fog.
But the fog rolled in while he was sitting there, and he kind of looks at it, sort of spooked, and then fucking sits there, thumb
Casts the line
firmly
out.
planted in ass, and continues fishing.
Take your own advice, right? You told everyone else to fuck off. Maybe
Yeah.
you should have skipped out to town too.
He kind of just sits there and thinks, oh, well, fuck, I'm not going to get out of this. I
Nah,
might
he's
as well
not
just-"
after me.
I don't know what he was thinking, but yeah, that was highly amusing as well.
They finally do bring out olive oil
Yes.
into the mix. Turns out she was his sister. Which I fucking, I don't know anywhere the mythology where that's current.
No, but
information.
we still don't know if Popeye was his real name, so we're to comment on this, Adam.
Yeah. Still up in the air as to whether it was Johnny. But,
So maybe we just missed something very seedy going on in the other Popeye media that we've watched.
But they do bring out olive oil, so finally we get another connection.
It's in name only.
In name only, she doesn't look anything like olive oil. She looks like a crackhead.
Yeah, she looks
Oh,
like
she does.
we should have called her cannabis oil or something.
Yeah, hemp oil.
Yeah, it was pretty silly.
She looks fucking dishevelled and you know, all over the shop.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, and this is not a like, Jared, but I think that actress at least, you know, she understood this is where the camera's placed. It's aimed at you.
Yeah.
You need to speak properly.
Yes, yeah.
She sort of
Fair.
got the brief.
Yep.
The brief
Yeah,
was,
she was fine. She was
speak properly.
Yep. I'll go with that.
She was one of the better actors of the piece,
Yeah.
which is saying a lot because the rest of them were shocking. Well,
Across the board.
across the board.
Yeah, I think a couple of them would be just one or two of them would be capable of giving you something if the material they were working with wasn't so bloody bland.
Yeah, possibly. Jury's still out on that, Jared. I'm like, let me tell you, if I was
It's
hiring,
circumstantial evidence. There's no definitive proof.
well, let me put it this way: if I was making a movie and you came in and you slapped your resume down in front of me and it had fucking Popeye's Revenge on it.
You close it up.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we
thank
just
you.
filled that.
We'll
we just
call-
filled that role. Sorry.
We'll call you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. One character who we saw for maybe 5 minutes.
Mhm.
He hits on a girl. He's a stoner, I think.
Yeah. Beanie.
Beanie.
They call him
He
Beanie.
then heads off down to the pier to fucking pull his dick.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, Jared. From a number of different perspectives, e.g., it was kind of gross. Secondly, privacy. And I would not be pulling my old fella out in public. Okay?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be doing what he was doing.
That's how you get locked up. Like, you get locked up doing that stuff.
Well, Adam, that's not the only deterrent for me. But, you know, it's...
Yeah, exactly. but he then gets an anchor in the nutsack. It was so unconvincing.
Yeah.
He has his spine ripped out and his head pulled off. But it was so fucking unconvincing. Like, the spine was clearly one of those fucking skeletons they have at school.
Mm.
It was just the back of that, and he sort of pulls it out.
Yep.
And I just thought to myself, you guys have hit a fucking new low. Like, you couldn't care less, and everything you're doing is just kind of cheap and nasty.
Mm.
And I stopped taking notes.
Yeah, I'd already stopped by that point, I think. But yeah, I mean, that goes for all of the kills.
There was nothing that even stuck out.
I mean, you're not going to do anything related to Popeye. Okay, fair enough. Can you throw a kill in that's, you know, inspired by Popeye at all? Oh, we'll just make him carry an anchor and then he can just do standard stuff with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and his
he
strength.
kills someone on a fucking lawnmower, Adam.
Yes. And
What about Popeye the Sailor Man makes you think I better chuck him on a lawnmower to run over somebody?
ride on, a proper ride on, and then he gets run over by the same ride on.
Mm.
That thing would have been fucking gummed up.
Would have broken on his forearms. Yeah.
But the other problem with all that is, Jared, is that you give us a like a statement kill somewhere. Use your fucking money.
As I said, Adam, number one, what did Popeye always do? As you did, with the action with the rolling hands while he's boxing somebody's head. Yeah. There's your first kill. Boom.
Oh, sure.
Knock that one off
he
the
just
list.
pounds the guy's face into pulp.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yes.
Fucking
exactly.
brilliant.
Done.
Brilliant.
So that's one. You got one.
You got one?
Just like that. Could
Well,
we
I mean,
do
we
it
could
here?
work
No,
with
we
something
couldn't.
else.
We couldn't.
It's just, again, laziness, lack of effort, lack of interest.
Yeah.
No real interest in the character.
Yep.
So you don't give a fuck what you're putting out. I ran out of things to say. I don't think I've got much else, Jared. What about you? We've been lucky to get to 40 minutes on this thing.
Well,
Fuck it, hell.
when we get to a character later in the piece explaining the backstory of the whole thing, I was fucking begging for mercy. I was begging for it to end, Adam. It was just another example of why are we squeezing this around a Popeye
I don't know.
thing? Like, it's just... I just don't understand.
Was this... do you think, Jared, that this script was already in existence?
If it wasn't in existence, it was just like... It's the most generic slasher stuff you can put around this. But is it really that much? Is it really that much of a stretch on your budget, or that much harder to just squeeze a little more juice out of it and make it something related to Popeye?
I mean, this is the thing. Are these guys? Are they sitting around not talking beforehand? Because I don't know about you, but if you sat around for 2 hours and just talked Popeye, you'd have better ideas than this.
Fucking oath.
Everybody.
Half an hour. Spitball for half an hour. Watch a 10-minute Popeye cartoon, spitball for another 20.
Yeah, all right.
You got a better idea of what you should be doing with Popeye.
But you would have multiple ideas to do with Popeye.
Yeah.
So this is the bit I don't get. You've got, were you so fucking wedded to this? Because you shouldn't have been.
No.
Like, it had nothing going for it. It is so forgettable.
I honestly think, I'm putting it out there, but it seems like it's honestly like AI generated fucking
Screenwriting
scripts or something. Because they're so template sort of.
Is that across the entire Pooniverse?
Well, this one's not Pooniverse.
I know, but they're all the same. They all cut from the same cloth.
Look, my experience with the Pooniverse is the first Winnie
I bet
the
you
Pooh.
never thought you'd ever say that in your life.
The first Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey was a little like this, where it started with the animation that tied things in. Then it just went sort of unrelated for a while, and it was something very much like this, just bland, random person around this.
Yeah.
And sort of tried to wrap it all up at the end, but it was kind of too late. By the time we got to the second one and the Peter Pan ones, there was more effort to sort of at least place it or take inspiration from those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Which were better. I'll give him credit for that.
You were happier with that?
Well, they're not fantastic movies, but they're much more passable, much more palatable, and they're more of what you're thinking. Like when you go, someone's taking the public domain stuff, they're making a cheap movie based on this.
Yeah.
But at least you're squeezing a few of those ideas into what you're doing. That's the whole purpose of it.
I mean, you can, even if you just forget about spitballing even the Popeye ideas. Even if you spitballed, okay, this is the 10 minutes of Popeye we just watched, let's put together 5 kills out of that stuff. Even if you spitballed that.
Yes.
And then you just forced all that in there.
Adam, if they had done that kill that we have mentioned 3 or 4 times now, which is the most obvious one you could go for based on Popeye,
Yes.
it's a 1.5. Right there.
I need to see how it's delivered before I start
I'm
adding.
calling it 1.5.
Hey, I'm definitely a 1 if you've got that in there.
Yeah.
But it just
And if you got Wimpy running around town constantly trying to pinch people's food and stuff, it's a 2.
burgers, nicking burgers or eating burgers. What the fuck was Wimpy up to? He was eating burgers. But if you had Bluto in there
Yeah.
as your villain, your protagonist, who's your human villain, I
Yep.
don't know,
Something.
or another fucking dead psychopath. Like, yeah, put them together.
Yeah.
It's like Godzilla.
Maybe Bluto's the one that warns you about the fog and then decides not to do anything when the fog rolls in.
No, that's Wimpy.
Yeah.
He's eating fish sandwiches.
Well, there you go. You've just got, your Wimpy's your crazy Ralph, but he decides not to leave because there's food on offer.
That's right. Humour as well as his fucking death.
It's too easy.
I mean, AI could have dashed this off better.
Oh, fucking oath.
Holy shit.
Fucking oath.
Have you got
I
anything
honestly
else
reckon
to
if
offer,
I
mate?
jumped onto ChatGPT right now and said, whip me up a script template
Here's
for
some
a
stop points.
slasher movie that has to adhere to some of Popeye's lore but turns him into the villain, bang, you would have ended up with a couple of those things that we've just talked about. Guaranteed.
Oh, Christ. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I think we've kicked it hard enough. I'm not trying to be too down on it, but it was very difficult to like.
Very, Jared, very. That was Popeye's Revenge. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Instagram at ThrillMePodcastAU, Facebook at ThrillMePodcast Australia, and Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Please rate and review us on all the sites and platforms we're on. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for details of the next film we cover. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.